Hello and welcome to another update video on XRP. XRP is still performing quite well and still following the bullish pathway that we've been discussing for many weeks. I mean, you might remember that throughout this entire correction, we saw this simply as a corrective pullback. And when we then saw a first 5-wave pattern to the upside, it became quite clear, not certain, but clear that the price bottomed in this wave 4 in April. And so I've been bullish here quite long, for quite a long time now, or at least we as a community. And I was quite puzzled. There was one comment in the last video like, I'm too bearish. I mean, I was like, what? What's going on? Did you even understand the analysis? I mean, this is not a bearish analysis. I mean, we've been talking about targets of $5 plus now for many months, and we're on a good way. We're on a good way. What I want to do in this video, I want to share with you again the larger degree targets or next upside targets to watch, and then we'll take a look at the smaller time frame and the smaller time frame, smaller degree support levels that now need to hold to keep this local uptrend alive. Yeah? And what we were tracking is here a corrective pullback in wave 4 and now a 5-wave move up. Yeah? So I've made a small change today to the microstructures. I shared that already in our member update intraday. I've made a small change to the microstructures. Nothing that would in any way change any levels, but I had still tracked it as a diagonal structure, this move up, right? But this is not possible. A third wave cannot be a diagonal pattern. Some of you asked that question. That's actually true. That came from when I was starting to track the move up here. Yeah, this could have been another wave 1 of 3. And the wave 1 can be a leading diagonal, but it basically just extended. So I said, well, this has to be an impulse. You know, it can't be a diagonal. But again, that's just some background info for those who are wave nerds like myself. It doesn't really change much, but yeah, we want to have it academically correct. So the idea is still that in this third wave that's currently unfolding, the price should get to $3.84 next. Again, that is only the first ideal target that I normally use for a third wave. XRP is known for extending third waves. So not just to get to the first ideal targets, that would kind of be the minimum expectation, yeah, to get to that $3.84 level. But XRP normally extends third waves quite a bit, which means if XRP keeps going, it could easily get to $4.33. That's the next level, the 161.8 Fibonacci extension, and then maybe also $4.72, the 178.6 extension, and then the next levels above are around $5 to $5.26. So I'm not going to rule out that the third wave extends to that, but that is why in a third wave, you don't want to guess where the price finishes. We know it's a third wave. We know that XRP likes to extend third waves. We know that cryptos in a third wave want to extend. So the best approach in a third wave is simply to track support like a trailing stop. It's very simple to do because it's simply the 50% retracement level, yeah, of the rally. Now, on the smaller time frame, I'll share with you what these support levels are. But please note that the whatever's happening, what the price shouldn't do anymore, yeah, what the price shouldn't do anymore is to pull back below the top of the wave 1. So we don't want to see a pullback that goes below $2.65, because that's the top of the wave 1, and in an upside impulse, the wave 4 must not break below the top of the wave 1. So we must not have an overlap between waves 1 and 4. This is not valid from an Elliott wave point of view. It would be a break of the rules. And of course, it could still happen, but then this is not anymore an upside impulse. And therefore, what we are tracking, if we break below that level, we treat it as a signal, right? If we break below that level, the focus would be on, yeah, basically another test of the range, right? The problem that we are tracking here is that if the problem that this would, let's say, include would be that, well, if we break back into the range, then I have to assume this fourth wave is still unfolding. That would basically be a bearish alternative, some of you have asked, right? But it's an alternative. It would be an A wave down, a high B wave, and a C wave down. You've got to be prepared for that. So therefore, on the larger time frame, the yeah, pretty much these support levels that you see on the chart around $1.21 to 155, they are unchanged. Because, you know, I would not really call that what we've seen so far a decisive upside breakout. Not yet above the January high. But we're trying to, and expectations are for upside continuation, okay? Yeah, so, and I mean, in recent videos, I asked the question, like, could we even get to $10? Absolutely. I mean, surely. And this might complete a major top, which could be either a third wave, which would then be followed by a fourth wave and go even higher, or even a more substantial price top. But we'll talk about that when we get closer to it. Now, let us also take a look at the smaller time frame for XRP, just like the smaller, shorter time frame patterns and what the relevant support levels are. Now, in the previous video earlier today, yeah, I talked to you about, no, it was yesterday. I talked to you about this potential diagonal, but as I said, I've changed it to an impulsive wave count, which really only changes the details and the labels. It didn't have an impact on levels. Well, it kind of did, because the support level is now only showing the 50% Fibonacci retracement, not anymore the 61.8 Fib, which means we have to give it less space, or we can only give it less space, which is fine because it narrows down the support area, which is normally appreciated. Yeah. Now, what I'm tracking here is support between $2.75 and $3.20, which means if we start this fourth wave pullback, the price should not break below $2.75. Well, it can, but again, then we are probably approaching the invalidation line, which is just the red line I showed you here at $2.65. Yeah, that's the invalidation line or invalidation point for this scenario, because as I said, a fourth wave must not break into that price region. But ideally, we're going higher first anyway. And the support area is like the first warning. So if we break below it, then this is our first warning that things are starting to break. And there is even a more direct upside continuation potential. So I shared that support area with you in the previous update. I think when I made the last update, the price did not push any higher afterwards. Started some kind of a pullback. And yeah, and I mean, the idea was that if we get a pullback, the first support zone to watch is between $3.20 and $3.43. So why is this support area important? It is important because as long as we're holding that 50% retracement, we could even get one more upside extension more directly in circle wave 3, potentially to round about $3.80 or so. Yeah. Only below $3.20, I actually have a formal, let's say a formal confirmation that we have actually topped and that circle wave 4 has started. So this is basically it, yeah. So for now, that should give you all the levels. That means one more high remains likely as long as we hold above 320. And below that level, we are likely in circle wave 4. And the focus shifts towards this support area, specifically the area, I would say, here around the $3 area. The 38.2 retracement is normally key. That's very important because that's normally an ideal target. It's an ideal target for a fourth wave. Just generally, if we look at statistics, most fourth waves would land there. But sometimes in a bullish market, they are very shallow. So they are not really targets, they're more support, yeah? So that keeps the uptrend alive. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for watching the videos on this YouTube channel. If you've been thinking about joining MCO as a member, now might be a great time. You can use the link in the video description and apply the discount code right below it. You will get 50% off your first month of our Gold membership, and you can explore everything we offer. It's the easiest way to test the membership, see if it's a good fit for you, and get a feel for the community, join the conversation, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in our member area.